Hello, everybody. Welcome to MEmoTalks episode 3. Today, as always, we have Shay joining us. Shay, how are you doing today? Welcome.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I figured today we can talk about the holidays and how they were affected by COVID and what we did. So I guess I'll start with you, Shay. What did you do for the holidays? How were they? Were they any different than normal?
50-50. I live up in Seattle and my family all lives down in, in Las Vegas. So we did a FaceTime. We only have one youngin in the family, my nephew, who's 4. We're all grown adults otherwise. So we let him get up and do the Santa thing and open all of his gifts. My family was all together. My sister actually had a cold, so she got COVID tested and they all ended up getting negative tests. So they were good to all see each other. And then obviously FaceTime, no concern for me. And then in the afternoon, I went and had dinner with one of my really good friends here in Seattle. Her and her husband also don't leave the house. They are quarantined, so I knew they were safe to be around. So I went and spent the dinner with them since I live here alone.
Okay. And was there anything special that you and your friend had done?
Yeah, so we're both chefs. I used to be a chef, and she is a chef currently. So we kind of went all out. We did a Cajun themed Christmas. So we had like a 9 course meal. It was very extravagant. Her husband's also a chef, but he's a pastry chef. So he did the desserts, and then her and I did the dinner. And then we just did generic Pillsbury cookies that we decorated afterwards. We spent so long cooking that we didn't wanna, like, bake cookies. We had already made so many things, like, the husband made fresh beignets and pecan pie and just all this really cool stuff, and then she made a ton of stuff, so we were like, "Let's just get generic cookies, cookie dough from the store."
Yeah, well, that makes sense. I guess I would definitely do that. I've actually never had Cajun seafood before.
And well, see, that's what we had wanted. We were like, "What's something different that we've never had?" And none of us have ever had, like, authentic Cajun food. You get a lot of people who are like from Mexico and all the Asian countries where you can get fairly authentic, other types of cuisine, but you don't really get authentic Cajun. So we did a ton of research, we looked up a ton of recipes and like actually talked to some foreigners from other countries and tried to do it as authentic as possible. Obviously, we don't know for sure since we made it, but we tried our best. We even because we were planning this way out in advance, we ordered stuff from Louisiana, from like New Orleans and stuff to get like authentic ingredients, and it was really delicious. Honestly, I was worried that it was going to end up turning out gross, but it was bomb.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah, I've never had Cajun food. I've always wanted to try it though. But
Enjoy spicy food.
yes, oh, I love spicy food. Okay,
Okay, yeah,
so
because that's kind of like a pre-qualifier. If you don't like spicy, you won't like Cajun food, and it's
okay,
not like not burn your mouth, like make your nose run spicy, but it's got a little bit of kick to it.
okay,
But yeah, if you enjoy that, you'll probably enjoy it.
okay. No,
Did you do anything
absolutely. I think there's a
interesting?
Cajun seafood restaurant actually down the street from where I live, and I always like see it when I'm like going someplace, and I'm like, I would really like to try that out. And obviously now I don't know if they're even open or anything like that. I feel like I haven't seen them on like any of the food delivery restaurants, but I know that there's Cajun seafood available to me, and I just really need to make the jump.
Worst case scenario, you don't like it and you never go back,
Yeah,
or in your case, order it.
yeah, or order it. I had actually I my holidays went a little bit differently than I had planned. I think I talked about in previous episodes that I was planning on just staying home and like FaceTiming with my family. That didn't work out. So I actually just went and visited my mom and went to my sister's afterwards. So we went actually and we went to Marcus's family. So we went to a lot of different places, but these are all people who are working from home, very rarely leave, like things like that. So it's not like we were just like jumping into the deep end everywhere we went. Um, I didn't. I was actually. I think we were planning on doing like a Christmas dinner here, but then when we basically made the decision to like go and actually visit with family, um, we didn't do any cooking like at all, except for the homemade eggnog that I made. I was telling you about before the episode, which I still have some. Should show it off in my favorite glass.
So Mimo and I were talking about this before the podcast, and he shared his recipe with me. I'm gonna try it. I love eggnog, and I want to see if it's as good homemade versus store bought. He says it's better,
It's
so I'm
so
gonna try
much
out the
better.
recipe. And next podcast, I'll check in with everybody, and I'll I'll let you know how it goes and if he is correct.
I'm very happy with it. I think it's delicious. I feel like I probably could have let it cook and thicken up just a little bit more. Um, and probably put much less ginger in hindsight. It's has a very gingery kick to it, but I'm really happy with it. I am a little upset with the yield though. I feel like we
The
barely
yield.
got any any eggnog for like the dozen of eggs that we used. But now I literally have a sandwich bag full of egg whites in my fridge, and I'm gonna be having a lot of egg white omelets for the next week.
Oh, see, I'm such a glutton. I'm like, ooh, meringues. You're gonna make meringue?
Actually, that's it's so funny because I was actually talking to Marcus on his way to work today. I was like, I might just make meringue cookies. I've never made them before, but we have the egg whites. Might as well try it.
Definitely. I mean, if you have the egg whites, if you can use it for omelets, maybe don't do a big batch, but I would definitely suggest making just like a small one and giving it a shot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that I've never tried to make meringue cookies. I did, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know what meringue was, and it was actually because I was making uh what was it the hummus? I was making hummus, and I was using the what are they called? The beans, the garbanzo beans from a
Oh,
can.
chickpeas. Yeah,
Yeah,
chickpeas, garbanzo beans, same thing.
yeah, I was using the chickpeas from the can, and I had read someplace that you can use the aquafaba from it for other stuff. So I had like saved it aside, and then I literally was just like, I'm gonna see what you can use it for, and I'd seen like you can make meringue cookies with aquafaba, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it, and I made this stupid. I don't know why I did this. I've never made meringues before. Actually, at the time, I didn't even know what meringue was. So I just read the ingredients and then like saw the beginning of the recipe and I was like, I can do this. And I piped out the meringue cookies on like parchment paper and I put them in the oven. And it was like basically like cook them for 5 minutes or something like that. And they're in the oven for 5 minutes and I pulled them out and I was like, they still look super pale. I'm gonna put them back in. So I put them back in until they were like lightly golden brown, which is burnt meringue.
Burnt.
So
Yeah,
like
wow.
I took them out and I took it off and I like bit into it. And I was like, this is disgusting. So I threw them all away and I was like, I hate meringue. And then like I think somebody had gotten like a key lime pie with meringue on it or something like that. And I was like, meringue is gross. And they're like, no, it's not. Try it. And I was like, why does this taste so much better than the cookies I made? So that's when I learned what meringue was. So I was just an idiot.
Well, A for effort. At least you gave it a shot.
Yeah. I give everything a
Honest,
shot. Everything. I try
because
to at
but here's
least.
the thing: you got to remember that everything that we eat as food is always just something that somebody gave a shot at, and it
Hmm.
ended up working. So
That's true. That's
just keep
100%
trying
true.
out. Yep. But yeah,
But yeah,
I
the base of the eggnog is basically custard. I was like the whole time I was doing it, I was like, I feel like I'm making custard again.
I mean, it's literally just liquid custard for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
Most people. Did you? I didn't look at the recipe yet. Did you put alcohol in it?
So the recipe that I sent you actually calls for alcohol. I did not put any in mine just because I enjoy myself a drink every so often, but like I prefer to not drink.
Hmm.
So the recipe, I think it says that you can use like a fourth a cup of cognac, brandy, or rum, but I just didn't use anything.
Okay. No, I love that. I personally am not a drinker either, so that's why I wanted to ask because you hadn't mentioned it when you were discussing making
Yeah,
it. So I think that's nice.
yeah. So but yeah. So the holidays, you had a delicious Cajun feast. I had tons of sodium and sugar.
I think everybody ends up having a lot of sodium and sugar.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like especially like going to bed last night, my heart like I was like laying down and my heart was just like bum 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 bum. Like
Your body's like, what the heck?
yeah, especially because I've been on a diet for so long. So it was like I think it was like a shock to my body, even more so than Thanksgiving was.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, especially just because you've been eating healthy, which is something
Mhm.
that I actually wanted to ask you about. If you had any New Year's plans, are you going to do any New Year's resolutions? Are you going to try and lose weight? I know that's a super common one.
I mean, every year I have the resolution to lose weight. Whether I'm not successful, I'm successful on that varies from year to year. But I actually kind of feel like more so, especially since I've been focusing a lot more on content creation and stuff like that. My my New Year's resolution this year is one to continue trying to lose weight, but also to try and just make better content and like learn how to make better content and and really work on the things that I put out because I kind of feel like I've been doing content creation on and off for a very long time, but I feel like I haven't really progressed in the quality of it. And I think I really want to focus more so on not just quantity of the content that I put out, but also the quality. And so I really want to try and focus on that a lot more this year than I have previous years.
That's awesome. I think it's nice. A lot of content creators obviously do their own thing, and I feel like finding the balance between quantity and quality is a really big deal. You can put out a video every day, but if it's garbage and not
Mhm.
edited and really choppy, no one's going to watch it. But vice versa, you can put out one really, really highly edited thing a week, but if you don't have the personality and the support, you're not going to work out. So I think you trying to find the balance is a really great idea.
Yeah, actually, speaking of quality, I realized that for the first 2 minutes of this particular podcast episode, I had myself muted in the recording. So that's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna have to deal with that later on while I'm editing this episode.
We'll just re-talk over it. You can listen to the to the switch and just
Yeah, so
re-record it.
I figure I'm just gonna have like some really like low quality voiceover of it. Just try to make it as good as I can.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
We're just getting started, folks. This
That's
is only
future
episode
Emilio's
3.
problem.
Yeah, it's not my problem.
Right. What's
That's
your
funny.
resolution?
So I guess my big one is to live life more minimally next year. I feel like for me at least in the whole COVID happening, it's made
Mhm.
me realize how much stuff that we have that we don't need and all the things that we take for granted. Like I don't know about anybody else, but the toilet paper thing was just so ridiculous to me.
Yes.
And it just I don't know, COVID all the way around, being home 24/7, I now work from home has really made me look at my house and my life and just like all the things that I have and especially now with the holidays, everybody who doesn't have things and all the people that are struggling. And it's just kind of made me realize how much stuff that I have that I either don't need or the things that I use that are kind of unnecessary. So my biggest goal is to just be more minimalist, to use less, to waste less, to buy less, and just kind of really try to live with what I need and no extra. I feel like that's a very big American thing. We're trained into buying things and
Yes.
having so much and doing so much, and I don't want to have to do that. So
Yeah.
my goal is to clean out. I've already decluttered a lot of my house for Christmas, just giving stuff away, and I'm going to continue to do that. But my goal next year is definitely just to do less, to be less, and just be more minimalist.
No, absolutely.
That's
That's
my big
awesome.
goal, at least. Yeah, my other goal
I
obviously is to finish school. I want to get done with interior design school so I can not have to do that anymore. As much as I love interior design, I'm really over going to school. I don't want homework. I don't want projects. I just want to live my life.
So that's actually something like you've brought up going to school for interior design a couple times. Are you just planning on being like interior like getting jobs in interior design like when you're done with that or like what is your plan with that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Part of me, when I went to this class, because I was debating, I was like, this is a lot of money. I don't really know if I want another degree. I already went to college, back
Mhm.
when I was 18. And I was talking to my best friend about it. And he was talking about how you don't have to learn something to make it a job. I've always been passionate about design, literally since I was a child. It's always been something I've been interested in. And so my goal when I started was to start my own business. I am a really big OCD organizer. And so I already have a lot of side jobs that I do organizing people's houses. And I mostly just do it for friends for free. But so my idea had been to open a cleaning and organizing and design company, like an all in one. Like you hire us, we'll help you declutter, we'll help you organize, but also design a space to be beautiful, but also functional. Because the reality is, anybody that you see in an interior design magazine isn't living in their home the way that you and I do. They're celebrities, they're, athletes, they're people who have 18 bedrooms and 4 of them are just staged to look nice and they don't
Right.
actually use those spaces. Real life people don't have flawlessly designed spaces. You can't. If you have kids, if you work from home, it's just not plausible. So my goal was to start a company where I could help find both a beautiful space, but a functional space that you can actually use and actually live in. Kind of going with the minimalist thing too. So many people have so much junk that they hold on to, and that's why I wanted really to incorporate the cleaning and organizing part into the company to help people live with less and really keep what they need and just live more simply.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to do that honestly. I'm kind of at a point right now where I'm like, I don't want to have to work and go deal with people and do that. But that's probably just because I've been stuck in my house for 9 months. So once I actually get the degree and have everything done, we'll see what the plans
Yeah.
change to be.
Yeah.
I'm leaving it open for right now. I've enjoyed it. I've loved learning it. It's still something I'm very passionate about. So even if I don't, start a business, even if I just help my friends and family, I'll be content with that. So I'm not pressuring myself to do anything.
That's cool. Absolutely. You saying that like regular people don't have like, really great well you said it so good. Like set up houses basically. Like I
Hmm.
feel that deep in my soul. Like I you can't really see it, but like I actually cleaned up this specifically just because I know it's in the background of my stream. I actually normally have like a fan up there and like all kinds of junk. And then on this side of me, I have like another monitor that I don't really use with my computer or anything. And then behind that is actually a stack of boxes.
But you see what I
So
mean? But all that stuff has functionality. You need that fan, and you do use the monitor sometimes,
yes,
but you
that's
can't
true.
technically have them out for that aesthetic purpose. And that's what really interests me about design is finding the medium of like how can we put things that you need out and incorporate them, but still have it look nice and be appealing to your eye because you take in things a lot more than you realize, things that you don't even realize that your brain takes in and looks at. And so when you have a better designed space, you're going to feel calmer, you're going to be happier. And it's not something that you're going to really notice. It's a subconscious thing because of how our brain works. And that's kind of what really got me into like being more minimalist at home and getting rid of stuff and all the just the crap
Hmm.
that you have and stuff like that.
Yeah. I definitely need to get more into that mindset of just being minimalist. I have tons of stuff that I would like to get rid of, but it's just like I haven't had the time to like go through and like separate things that like I need or want to keep and things that I probably don't need and don't want to keep. Um, but that's definitely something that I've discussed with Marcus. Like the next time we move and get another place, definitely just my plan is as we're packing everything up, separate everything that we don't need, and before we pack up a truck to move someplace else, like take that to like a Goodwill or something like that. Just like get rid of it, so that it doesn't even follow us to our new place. So yeah, that's definitely like something that I have on in the back of my mind, and I know that a move is going to be coming up probably later in 2021, because uh, we were actually only supposed to stay here for 1 year in this apartment, but it's already been 2 years. So
I mean, this year kind of flew by. You kind of didn't really have a choice, I feel like,
that is true.
in terms of this year. I'm interested to say, so just out of curiosity, how you said you would just pack it up and give it to Goodwill. Is that something that you've done before in the past? Or is that just kind of like the generic, that's what everybody does is when you don't want something, you just give it to Goodwill? I'm curious.
So I actually I think that's always been like I always feel like if it's usable things, it's probably better to like donate it or and like when I always think of like donating things, I always just think of Goodwill. So there's probably better places to take it, but yeah, no, like I don't know if it's typical. I feel like a lot of people probably just donated a lot of stuff to Goodwill. I've never personally done that before. I don't know. Like I'm like thinking back on like things that I've had in the past that I don't have anymore, and I really don't remember what was done with it. But I was probably too young to like have been the one to get rid of it. You know what I mean? So as an adult, I haven't done any like purging, which is why I have so much stuff that I don't need.
Gotcha.
Like
Yeah,
I used
that
to
makes
get
sense.
those like loot box things where like once a month they
Oh,
just
Loot
send you
Crate.
like theme stuff. Yeah, Loot Crate. I used
Yeah.
to get Loot Crate. And for the first like 2 months maybe, I was like, this is amazing. Like, oh my gosh, like I really needed these coasters that are modeled after like the like summoning circle from Silent Hill, like, which by the way is actually true. I have those and I love them and I still use them. But it was a lot of stuff that I didn't need, and it was like things like from like game or like media content that I wasn't interested in that I just like have in boxes. And I was, for some reason, like my brain just like didn't make the connection, like stop getting Loot Crate because you're not really enjoying it, and I was just getting more and more Loot Crate. So I
No,
just
but
have
see,
like
that's how the subscription box and that's how they get you, right? They say, "Look, you're gonna get all these things. It's such a great value, this and that." And they do that because once you sign up, you're so unlikely to cancel it.
mhm,
And yeah, you probably do get like one thing every box where you're like, yeah, this is great. Like, I really like it and I really will use it. But like, what about the other four or five things that you're getting that you probably don't want? You
that I
definitely
don't care
don't
for.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole thing with the boxes, right? That's why if you haven't noticed, if you look at any subscription box, not just gaming, but beauty, stuff, food stuff, any kind of subscription box, it's always such a great value, right? It's like, oh, you only pay $20, but it's valued at 50. And it's like, how do they do that? And they don't. It's junk. It's junk you don't need. And
Yeah, I
that's exactly what I mean with the minimalist. We're trained as Americans to buy stuff that we don't
mhm.
need or want.
Capitalism.
Yeah, exact capitalism, America. America in a
America.
nutshell.
Yeah, so no, absolutely, I 100% agree. I did finally cancel Loot Crate, but I just
Same
still
here.
have all the stuff. Yeah, I just still have all the stuff that like I had even tried selling some of it because I was like, I think a part of me was like, because a lot of the Loot Crate stuff, especially early Loot Crate, I don't think it's like this anymore. But a lot of the early Loot Crate stuff was like, this is exclusive. Like you're not gonna be able to get this anywhere else. Like so, like my mind was like, okay, so if I get this and I keep it for a long time, like in mint condition, never open the package or something like that, I can probably sell it again for a pretty good deal because it was like exclusive. Turns out that it may have been exclusive to Loot Crate, but they were like selling millions of them. So I actually recently tried to sell some of the like things that I got on Loot Crate on an app called Mercari, which is like a local like buying and selling app. Um, and I had stuff like posted on there, and nobody. I was it was literally like I'm selling this thing. Like it got to a point where I was like, I'm selling this thing for $5. The shipping is $2.99, so it was basically like what, $7.99.
$8. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, it's basically trying to sell it for $7.99, and people were like offering me like, I'll buy it for $2. Like,
Mhm. We're
no,
getting lowballed.
like, well, because I
Yeah.
I had put that I had originally put that I would pay for the shipping, um, and nobody was buying it. So then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna lower the price, but I'm not gonna pay for the shipping. I'm not gonna get like 50 cents back. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like, no, it was ridiculous. Like nobody was buying it, and so I eventually just took them all off, and it's like, well, crap. Now I have nothing. Now my one plan to get rid of all this junk like didn't work out. So I'm just gonna donate it.
Right. Well, that's kind of what happens, right? Is you get to the point where you have all that stuff and you just can't get rid of it. And it's like, well, I don't want to throw it away or donate it because I spent money on that. Or at least I don't want to speak for you, but that's how my brain works. I have so much stuff that if I could guarantee to get half my money back for it, I would give it away right now. But in my mind, I don't want to get rid of things because like I spent my money on that. And even though I'm not using it, that's my money sitting in that object, that I worked for. And
Yeah.
so in my brain, if I'm throwing it away, it's like, okay, I literally just like threw away $20.
I mean,
And
no,
and
I
that's
I 100% agree with that. Like, actually, just kind of looking at things on my desk. Like, I have two of these USB-C adapter things. I got them with my Pixel phones. I don't use them, but it's like I literally just have them here on my desk because I paid for them. Like, I don't need them. I don't like them
but you
here,
have them, so why get rid of it? Yeah, I
but I
know. So
have them exactly.
that's something that's going into the whole minimalist thing. That's something I'm trying to get over in my mind mentally next year is I've already spent the money, right? If I've bought something and I can't return it, that money is already gone. Me
Hmm.
keeping that item is not going to get me my money back. And if I'm
Yeah,
not going to use the item or if I'm not enjoying it, if it's like art or, something of that nature, just get rid of it because you're doing yourself a double whammy. You've wasted the money and now you're cluttering your house and your mind with things that you don't want and need. So that's what I'm really trying to do again with the minimalism tying back into that is getting rid of that kinds of stuff. And that's why I was asking if you donate things, something that I've been trying to do, especially being with COVID this year, is that, a lot of people are hurting for money. So instead of donating it, I will literally just put everything in a pile. and I take a picture of it and I post it on OfferUp or Mercari or Facebook Market, whatever you have, and I just say like free, must pick up, message me when you can be here, and it will be outside. Because in my mind, if I'm donating it to Goodwill, they're profiting off that, right? They're taking my money and my stuff, and then they're selling it to other people. So instead of me helping Goodwill profit and then making somebody else pay for something that I'm not going to get money for anyway, I'd rather just like give it directly to people. And so that's what I've been doing. It's definitely more work than just like dropping it off at a Goodwill, but it takes 2 minutes to post the picture. And that's why I specifically say, like, message me what time you'll be here, and I'll respond
Yeah.
with my address. Because then I don't have to have contact with these people. I literally just go and put the box outside. If they say they're going to be there at 2:50, I go put the box outside. And I text them and I say, hey, the box is next to the blue trash can or whatever. You know what I mean? And then I don't have any contact with them and I'm done. It's off my back. Nobody had to pay any money for it. No big corporations profited off of me for a second time. And that's what I've been doing personally. And it just makes me feel good because at the end of the day, if I'm
Yeah.
not getting money for it, I'd rather give it to other people.
I do agree with that. I think that that's a wonderful way to look at it. For me personally, I think I'm pretty sure I would have to do a little bit more research, but I think for me, I think the reason Goodwill or something like that is always like the first thing that pops in my head is because I'm pretty sure I could be wrong with this, but I'm pretty sure that Goodwill is like one of the like only like major like I guess businesses. It is a business. I don't know. I'm air quoting that, but it's one of the major businesses that actually like employs a lot of like disabled people, and
They do,
it's
yes. No, you're right about that. They definitely do. They try specifically to hire people who are either handicapped or have a disability or
mhm.
something that to that regard. And from what I know, they do pay fairly well. But as with any big corporation, they profit.
That is true.
So
Yeah, they profit, but a part at least a portion of it, at least for me, it's always just like at least a portion of it is going towards a good a good cause.
uh-huh.
So
That's true.
that's how I kind of like justify it in my head, I suppose.
No, yeah, I mean that's definitely better than nothing. I this does really doesn't apply to you since you're a man and you probably have men stuff. But if you are a female and you're listening to this, I would highly recommend looking up female shelters in your area. There are dozens of shelters that will take any kind of clothing, toys, feminine products, stuff like that for their kids. Again, I know this doesn't apply to you, Mimo, as you probably don't have any of that
I
stuff,
probably have a
but
lot of toys that I could donate
that
and
you can
things like
give
that.
away. Yes,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of feminine shelters where it's strictly for mothers and families. There are no men allowed, and it's single moms or people who have ran away from abusive partners that have kids and are looking for help.
Mhm.
So if you're going to donate, obviously Goodwill's another good option, but those are always another good option. Those are always very packed with people and always in, need. So if you are listening, look up that stuff in your area.
No, absolutely. That's actually that's really good. A really good call out. Yeah, I might end up like maybe we can like just be like a little bit more focused in our sorting of things that we're gonna get rid of, and maybe we can like put toys in one place, clothes in one place. You know what I mean? And kind of like do more focused donations. That's a really good idea.
Think so. I mean, it definitely is more work. I'm not going to say it's not more work, but it's a
Hmm.
little bit more work and you benefit people so much more. And like you said, okay, let's give all the clothes to Goodwill, right? Because that's what most people go to Goodwill for, I feel like, is
Yeah.
clothes, not so much like homeware. And then the toys, let's make sure we donate those to like a kids shelter and then, break up stuff like that. And you're still helping people, but you're still cleansing yourself of the stuff that you don't need. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you're giving back to other people. I feel like 2020, I hope, has really made people realize that we need to be kinder to each other and help each other out more. 'Cause
Yeah.
life is rough.
Yeah. And it's only it's I hate to say it, but I kind of feel like it's only gonna get rougher. It's like I feel like maybe it's just the nihilist in me, but I definitely feel like it's gonna get darker before it gets better.
No, oh, it absolutely is, and it's yeah, I wanna keep it light so we won't, like, get into it super deep, but so many people saying like, "Oh, 2020 is over, guys, it's almost 2021," and it's just like, "Honey, 2021 is not the magic cure all, okay? We're still gonna have all the same issues we did this year,
Mhm.
it's just another calendar year. Corona doesn't care that the year has rolled over. All the
Right.
people in debt don't care, you know? We're still gonna have all the issues. People are still gonna be poor. We're still gonna have to deal with COVID. Hopefully things will get better, but just because we're rolling into 2021 doesn't mean we're gonna magically fix all the issues.
Yeah, I do have this I do have this worry that like New Year's Day, people are just gonna like go out as though there was never a pandemic, like no masks, know taking care of themselves or people around them. Like I but that is honestly a legitimate fear of mine that like people are gonna be like, yes, the new year, everything in 2020 is in the past, like things like that, especially something like COVID, which is still affecting billions of people, is definitely going to carry over. And I feel like people definitely they don't like it's not a tangible thing. You know what I mean? So I think people, it's kind
Yeah.
of like out of sight, out of mind. People are not
It's one
gonna.
If it's not directly affecting you, you don't think about it.
Mhm.
It doesn't impact you, but the reality is that it impacts everybody else. I don't know about you. I know that Colorado is on, like, a pretty strict lockdown right now,
Yes.
but so for an example, I had asked my family because originally, back before COVID escalated again, the plan was for me to fly out to see my family for the holidays. That's what I've done every year since I've moved. I'm the one person who doesn't live there, so it makes more sense for me to fly there.
Mhm.
And right now, Las Vegas, Nevada as a whole, but Las Vegas is on what they're calling a pause. And it's basically a half lockdown. You're not allowed to, go out to do, activities and stuff like that. Most of the places have been closed down. It's a very gentle lockdown. And the governor's way of, putting it was this is a pause because their hospitals are at 90% capacity. And he said if
Jeez.
things don't get better and we hit 95% capacity, we have to do a full on lockdown again. And it's crazy that we're what, 9 months into this now, and this
What
is
is
still a
time?
thing. Yeah, it's just 8 months, and the thing that really blows my mind with it, there are countries and places that are completely COVID free and living their
Yeah.
life like normal. Taiwan and Australia, for example, I have, very close friends in both of those countries. They're living life like normal. Like, they still wear masks, but all of their businesses are back to normal. They are
Mhm.
fully opened. No one is in lockdown. No one is in quarantine. COVID is pretty much non-existent in those places, and it's because they went on full on lockdowns. They, followed all the rules.
Because they
They
listen
gave
to the
everybody money.
science.
They paid everybody money to stay home. They made it,
Mhm.
reasonable for their people. Like, yeah, it sucked for those 3 months, but they're back to normal.
Yeah.
They're done. They're
Yeah.
living life. And I don't understand why that's so hard for America
I
to
think
to to figure that out.
I think honestly, it really does boil down to the fact that nobody wants to be responsible for funding people who need to stay at home. Nobody. The government doesn't want to be responsible for it. Employers don't want to be responsible for it. So basically, I mean, I'm sure that there's other countries that are experiencing the same thing. Probably not to the same extent that America is, but 100%, nobody wants to be responsible for paying people to stay at home, so nobody's doing it.
The two things. I think it comes down to lack of leadership and the lack of money. Because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, the reason why people are going out and doing what they're still doing is because of those two things. It's either because they don't take COVID seriously and they have no reason to because no one's told them,
Mhm.
like, hey, no, or they need the money. I know a lot of people who are still working. They're not essential workers. You don't have to go shop at Michael's. That's not essential. You don't need crafts. But they're
Nope.
still working because they need money. I know so many people who don't want to be working right now that want to stay home, but it's you lose your job or you go to work. And
Yeah.
it's like you obviously you're going to go to work regardless of what you want. And that's really honestly what it comes down to because that's what's happened in the other countries. Their leadership has said, "We're done. We're locking down. You are not allowed to go anywhere. If you want groceries, you have to have them delivered or you have to do curbside pickup. Only essential workers. But hey, you're getting $1,500 every month, a month, every single month.
Mhm.
Or your mortgage, your rent is on pause. My friend lives in the UK. Their mortgages and rent have been completely halted. Not like you have to pay it back next year or anything like that, halted. Like, no one is making any payments.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
why
definitely
it's
how it should have been.
yeah, and that's how it and see, and that's the thing. People are like, "Well, where's all the money gonna come from?" And it's like, "Okay, what about the pause?" That doesn't cost anybody any money.
Nope.
Like, yeah, it sucks, great, the banks aren't profiting, but that isn't gonna cost anybody money. If everybody says, "Hey, everybody's payments, your car payment, your loans, your mortgages, your rent, all those big payments are completely paused." That doesn't cost anybody a penny because no one's paying any extra interest, the banks aren't charging any extra fees, nobody would lose any money in that scenario.
Yep.
And it would alleviate so much. Like, yes, you still need food. Yes, you still, need gas if you are an essential worker and you're driving. But at the end of the day, you should have some kind of safety budget for that kinds of stuff. Or that $1,200 check. If you break that down into $200 every month, that's more than enough for food,
Yeah.
for one person.
Yeah.
And that should have
Exactly.
gotten you through, which I still think the $1,200 was a sham. I think we should have gotten more. But still, that just to even just show just that one change. So just pausing all of the loans and mortgages and rent would have alleviated so much of this issue.
Yeah, and I do want to what I do want to kind of like go back to something you were saying where it wouldn't cost anybody to just put everything on pause. I feel like the reason that we didn't do some sort of like complete pause or anything like that is 100% because it would have lost the 1% money. That's really what it comes down to. The reason America
Yeah,
didn't do anything, they
capitalism.
didn't yeah, they didn't pay is because the only people that would be that would quote unquote basically not benefit from the economy shutting down is the people who own the economy, which is the 1%. They wouldn't get millions of dollars in their pocket every single month, and you know what I mean. They would still be living comfortably, but if we had like basically paused the economy like we should have, they wouldn't be able to profit off of the the working class like they have been, and that's why I was getting so frustrated and so angry when there were people protesting like reopen the economy. Like no, like who is that benefiting? Because it's not benefiting you. It's not benefiting you in any way. It's benefiting the people who are actively working against you being safe. You know what I mean? Like that's
Exactly.
just the way that I felt about it.
Yeah, well, you gotta think Amazon is profiting now more than ever, right? Because everyone's
Hmm.
doing deliveries. They're not offering their employees anything.
Nope.
I know that I had heard, and I don't know if this is true, so I apologize if this isn't completely accurate. I had heard that they were doing like a $2 hazard pay, like back when we were shut down. But I know that they ended that if they did actually go through with it. And they've got nothing. Why are all the employees who are essential workers not having like $1,000 bonus every month for hazard pay or something like that?
Right?
It doesn't make any sense why. And I understand like small businesses can't do this, but corporations, if you are a large chain corporation, there is no reason A that you should be profiting right now, and B that you should be profiting and not giving back to your employees. Because if everybody
Exactly.
at Amazon said fuck you and stop working right now, the world would come to a halt.
Exactly.
Everything would stop. And it's crazy to me. I don't know. I looked up the cases just now, and I'm assuming this is accurate as of today. Worldwide, 80 million cases. The US accounts for nearly 19 million of that. So 1/5 of the entire world's cases we account for.
I would like it on the record. America's population is nowhere near one
We
fifth
we
of the
are
world
not 1/5 of.
population.
Hang on, I'll find it.
It's we have such a high concentration of cases though. Like 100%. That's really what it is. We have it's so
The
much.
United States population is equivalent to 4.25% of the world population.
Let's
4% of the world's population, but we have 1/5 of the cases.
one fifth. How okay? Okay, I'm not a math person. What is 100 divided by 5? It's like
Oh god, I'm not a math person
21
either.
point something. I don't know. Let's see.
Hang on, I can do it. What do you wanna know? 100 divided by 5? Is that what you had
Yeah,
said? Yes?
20. It's
Wow, we're
20.
awful. It is. It's 20. Wow. We're pathetic. Oh my gosh.
Hey,
Yeah.
listen. So yeah, no, so we make up 4% of the world population, yet we have 20% of the world's COVID cases. Let that sink in. Please understand when I say not shutting down and not paying people to stay at home was not good for you, the people. It was only good for the people making money off of the working class. I am going hardcore communism here.
Do
let's
it.
let's do this. Let's talk about this. It didn't help anybody. I mean, like look at the numbers. Look at I was actually just pulling up Amazon made let's see here. So over the last year, pandemic and all that stuff, Amazon made 92.78 billion more dollars than they did in 2019. Is this wait, what's
Billion, ladies and gentlemen, with a B.
yes.
$1 billion.
No, wait, hold on. No, I was 92.7 billion dollars in profits, which is 11.59 billion more than they did in 2019. $11.59 billion for one specific company.
One company. One company.
Like how like and then like kind of like to go
And that's
with what you were
profit.
saying before.
You said
Yeah,
that
that's
was
profit.
profit, correct? Profit. That's after they've paid everybody. That's after they've paid for the materials, the shipping, the people, everything. They've profited
Hmm. So
billions.
I have
Why
a
is that
question.
alone not turning back around into the community? That
Exactly.
right there should be completely illegal.
I was literally just about to say, where's the trickle down economy? Where is
Mhm.
it? I haven't
Why
seen.
are yeah, why are all Amazon employees not receiving like a $5 raise right now, at least during COVID or anything, something?
What is the population of let's see, population of America. Population of America is 328.2 million. Okay, so 328.2 million. So 328 to oops. How many zeros is that?
A lot. While you do
Oh,
that math, for perspective, ladies and gentlemen, we had just said that the US is 4% of the world's population, and we have 20% of the world's cases. India is 18% of the world's population. So about one fifth, say same thing, 20% of the world's population, yet they have half as many cases as we do. Let that sink in. They have almost 5 times as many people, but half as many cases as we
yep.
do.
I
And their healthcare system is nothing compared to ours. Not just they aren't advanced. Like, yes, they have a good medical system, I'm sure, but like just in comparison to America and the way that we have like just outrageous healthcare, we have so much more care availability to people, and they have half as many cases and
so
5 times more people.
I just did some rough math. No, this is very very rough math. Um, Based on the amount of profits that Amazon has made, compared to every an estimation of every single American life, Amazon has basically made 3 times as much in profit as there is American lives. Like, okay, so let's break that down to like families. Let's say I think the average family size is like 4.2 or something like that. It's a really weird number. Um let's say they that amount of money went to every like it was split amongst every single American family. So let's so that would be the American population. I'm messing this up. The American population divided by 4.2, just kind of rough math it. So there is oh, that's a big number. There's 781428571 for 42.9 families in America. So
7 million, if I listened to that correctly.
let's see, one, two, three, one, two, three. No, it's 78
Someone with
billion. 78
million.
billion billion? That
There's
doesn't make any
there's not even
sense.
billion people in the world.
Oh no no
So
no
that would
yeah,
be
you're right.
78 million.
Oh, so I messed up this math 100%. Um,
Also,
Hold
just
on.
I just googled it, and as of 2020, the average family consisted of 3.15,
3.15.
which is down from 3.9 from the 60s.
Okay. So, Amazon made 92.78 billion dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So, 92,
Do you say 92.7?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much can you look up what the American population is? Because I think I was like I just saw it and I was like billion, but that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Um, population. Um, as of 2019, 328 million.
Okay. So, $282 for every American person. But if we get the 328 million, and you said that the average family was how big again?
3.15. So
Oh.
usually the two adults and 1 to 2 children.
So that leaves one, two, three. So about 104 million families in America. just rough math.
Rough math. Obviously, there's single people, blah blah blah. This is
Yeah,
just an
so
estimate.
if we were to split the 92 billion in profit that Amazon made in 2002 or 2020, so far by the way, this is the thing that I was reading.
Not including Christmas. Yeah,
Yeah, the
that
thing that I
was
was reading
posted before
was
Christmas.
from October. So before people were buying a bunch of stuff for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for Hanukkah, for all that stuff, because I can
That's only
guarantee
three-fourths
you,
the way through the year.
yeah, exactly. So,
I
app,
think we can comfortably say that number has probably jumped up to about 100, just to make
yes,
it nice and easy for math purposes.
yes. Um, if we were to basically split the $92.78 billion that they made to every single American family, um, it's well, I mean, it's I guess it's not as much as I expected, but $891 to each American family.
Okay, but that's a lot of money from one corporation. That's just one.
Exactly.
That's one corporation out of the hundreds of thousands that there are in America.
All the
That's just
corporations that are
one.
profiting off of the pandemic.
Like, yeah, what do you think of just the number as like, oh, only $890? Yeah, that's not that much, but that's from one company. If we made
Mhm.
every company in America that has profited in 2020 do that, every family would get several $1,000s
Oh
back
yeah,
easily.
absolutely.
Easily.
But the point that I was trying to make, kind of going around to why I started with this clown math, is the this is $890 that the American people are not seeing because America is based off of this crazy notion that trickle down economy works. It does not work. I am not seeing a single
Absolutely does
penny
not
of this
work.
$890 that I'm not going to say that Amazon owes me, but that's the point of, trickle down economy. You feed into the 1% and it trickles down to the rest. That has never once happened. So why is it that people are going out in a pandemic protesting to basically give more money to the 1% when you should be staying at home with your family trying to be safe, and it's the government and these big corporations, I guess not really the big corporations, but it's the government's job to make sure that you're taken care of. There's nothing like nothing about government is like the foundation of government is to take care of its people. So why is it that I don't know. I just for me it just doesn't make any sense. Why are people going out and protesting basically the ability to stay home and be safe to save the government. Air quotes save the government because they don't need saving. The people that they're governing are the ones that need saving. And I really feel like American politics really failed horribly.
But see, at the end of the day, what people don't realize is that in a way, the pandemic has benefited the large companies. And that's why there
Yes.
is no change happening right now. And that's why, even though we are 9 months into this, nothing is changing. Because just
Mhm.
like Amazon, of course, Amazon has a lot of eyes on it. It's because it's Amazon. Everybody uses it. It's worldwide. It's a big corporation. That's just Amazon that profited that $100 billion. Okay. You got to think how many other corporations, how many other big names are profiting off of this, and that's exactly why they are not pushing to have anything change. You, the poor, the 99% are stuck at home, going crazy, losing money, going further into debt, which is better for banks because that means you now have to take out more loans and they get to charge you more late fees and more interest. And
Mhm.
now you have to work and you have to get more jobs and you have to take jobs for less pay because you need the money. And yeah, you want a job for $20 an hour, but if somebody's offering you 16, you're going to take it because you need money because you now have bills and debt and
Exactly.
children and people to feed. The corporations are the people that are benefiting the most off of this because they're A, are still profiting. B, we're getting poorer, and B, that puts them in a better situation because it puts them in more demand and puts us in a worse position in terms of wages, like demanding better wages, demanding better healthcare, demanding better benefit, any of that. It puts us at a worse spot because at the end of the day, we need money. They have
Ye
money.
yeah.
They have us on a stake. We're at the end of the plank and they can tell us whatever they want and we have to accept it because that's how our foundation is run. You've got to think, okay, take Amazon out of it as a picture. You said, oh, well, Amazon doesn't owe me any money, which, like, yes, okay, they're a corporation. They don't. Fuck Jeff Bezos, however you
Yes.
say his
Oh
name.
my
He
gosh.
has a net worth of $182 billion. Why is
He
that
literally
legally
has
acceptable? There is no physical way you can spend that much money.
mhm.
I don't care if you are Jeff Bezos and you have 15 kids, there is no physical way you can spend $182 billion.
Yeah.
I don't care if you have 15 mansions and 50 cars and all of your kids have 50 cars and mansions. 180, imagine 182 billion. Think about the fact that you, the average American person, will never even have made $1 million in your lifetime. That's not in your bank account. I'm talking about every penny you've earned in the span of your lifetime. You'll never make $1 million. But this man has 182 billion to himself.
I think I had read something someplace that Jeff Bezos alone has enough money to basically feed every person in America like for an entire, like, I think it was like for like 6 months straight, and still have not like lost $10 billion or something like
Yeah,
that. Like,
Jeff
so like,
Bezos has the ability to end homelessness,
mm-hmm.
to end world hunger, and the other things, many other issues. The Flint water problem, just as a common example, and he would still be a multi-billionaire.
Yep.
Well, put that through your brain for a second. Solve world hunger, end homelessness,
Mm-hmm.
and still have billions of dollars in his
Billions
pocket.
with a B.
Billions of dollars in his pocket. He could
Yes.
literally give everybody in America $1 million and he would still have enough money to live comfortably for the rest of his life. Imagine if he just gave every American in the country $10,000. He would
Yep.
still be a billionaire. He would still be a multi-billionaire. And think
Mm-hmm.
of what the average American family would do with $10,000.
Yeah.
And I know, like, yes, it's not down to one person to save the world, but like, fuck you. You should be such a like. Can you
But what?
imagine being such a scumbag that you have 182? I can't even see. I keep trying to say 1.8. No, not 1.8 billion. 182 billion dollars, and you're not doing anything worthwhile. And people are like, oh, well, he donates this. Okay, he donates like 0.00001%. No, tell me when you donate $100 billion of your net worth, I will absolutely get down and applaud you. But until then, I don't want to hear about the $10,000 you donated to one charity. Fuck you.
Yeah, you know what? And it's so crazy that you say that, because it's like, I for the longest time I feel like the only celebrity that I was like hell yeah, I stan this person. And now it's a really controversial thing, and of course I don't stand this person at all anymore. But I think I remember reading in a Forbes article or something like that that was like J.K. Rowling is the only celebrity to have donated so much money that she basically lost her like
For millionaire
status.
status.
Yeah, her millionaire status because she was donating so much money. And I was like, hell yeah, J.K. Rowling. Obviously now she's a horrible, awful person that should probably just shut up and stop talking. But I mean, I just remember that being a thing. Like what? Like, I want to say 6 years ago.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if you just take like her personality aside, which I agree with you, but like let's just take that out and let's purely just focus on her donations. The fact that just a book writer, and granted, like yes, probably like undoubtedly the most popular book series that's ever been published, but let's
Yes.
just a book
Other than the
writer,
Bible.
okay? Well, okay, I said book series. Um, just a book writer. The fact that she is the only person in the world to have done that is disgusting.
hmm
There are athletes, celebrities, actors, singers, artists, whatever you want to, all the people who make way too much copious amounts of money. She is the only person who's done that. Again, her personality aside, I'm not saying it makes her a good person,
It
but just
doesn't,
that
but
in
you're right.
itself should like stick in your stomach. And when it really comes down to it, going back to like the donation thing, right? I feel like that's really the only way to judge it. How you said like that she's the only person who's donated so much of her wealth that she's lost her status. And that's because as an average person, you and I can't even begin to fathom $182 billion, right? I was even thinking, I was like, how many zeros is that? So I looked it up. 182,000,000,000,000. Okay, if you break that, let's break that into like an average person, right? Let's say you have $182,000. Okay, you remove half of those zeros.
hmm
And let's say you do a donation, right? And you donate 18,000 of it, right? 1%. That sounds like a lot of money. Oh, he donated $18,000. That's 1% of $182,000 on the other six zeros. And think about how pitiful a $10,000 donation to somebody is. And that's the problem with the American society. They're like, "Oh, well, he does donate." He literally donates,
It's
like,
a drop in the bucket for him.
it's not even a penny.
Yeah.
When you break down his fraction, $10,000 is not even valued at a penny to him in comparison to the average American dollar.
I just want to kind of like, you know, use this as like a more clarifying thing. Let's say I mean this is probably not even so far from the truth when it comes to me. I've never made more than, I think, like, full transparency, I think the most that I've ever made in a single year is like 42,000, uh yeah, $42,000
Mhm,
in a single year. So not a whole lot of money. I was excited about having made that much money. It was a lot of overtime because I typically do not have super high paying jobs. There's a lot of overtime.
mhm,
Um, I there has been a couple times where I got my, check for the 2 week period or something, and I was literally like, I'm gonna donate $100 to, and I'm not gonna get like into specific numbers or something like that, but let's say my check was for 1,200. And I was like, you know what? I really feel like I have a really strong connection to this, charity thing over here. They're doing a really big fundraiser. I'm going to donate $100. $100 is what, like almost 9% of all the money
mhm,
that I made at that point.
mhm.
9%, even though it's a much smaller amount, 9% is so much
But to
better.
you, that 9% is a huge chunk of your income. That's 1/10 of your
Exactly.
income. Yeah, and
Exactly.
that's why it's so I looked it up, and you're about spot on. The average individual, not a family, but one person's income in America as of 2019 was 35,977. So basically $36,000. That's the average American, okay? So let's say if you have two people, because most people, household, you have two incomes, right? About 70K, give or take. Some people probably make a little bit less and more, but about 70K. Okay. And that's just, think about that, 70K a year that the average person
That's not
makes.
even making six figures yet.
No, yeah, yeah, that's not even, we can get into a whole thing on that. But so, like,
Yeah.
let's just say, to touch base, because I wanted to see if my math was true. Let's say, like, the average person lives, like, what, 75 years? Do we want to say, with, like, because health stuff going on now? 80? Do we want to say 80 to be generous? Do you feel
Yeah,
like
let's say 80.
85? I don't know. Yeah, I see you're frowning.
I
You're like,
like, I'm just thinking, like, for myself personally, like, I don't want to live past 60.
Okay, we'll say 75 then,
Like,
just
we're
to
really
be.
pushing
We're
it.
really pushing it. I don't. So the math for that, right? Let's say you live to be 75, okay? And you make the average 36,000, which isn't going to be accurate because you don't start your base pay job at 18 years old making,
Yeah,
30, 36,000. I wish. Imagine how much better life would be if
right.
we did start out making that much. But, like, let's say you start around 25, right? Like, let's say you've been in your career a little bit, you know what you're doing. At the end of your lifetime, if you live that full 75 years and you consistently make $36,000 a year, and that will account for, you're probably going to make more towards the end of your life, and you're going to probably make less at the beginning. And that's not saying that you retired. Okay, you didn't
Yeah,
get to
you're
retire.
you're
Actually, short. Let
working.
me take out retirement years. Actually, let me redo the math because that's true. People retire. What is the average retirement age? I don't even know.
I wanna say 65 or 62 or something like that.
Okay, 65. So let's say you start working and you start making 36,000 at 25. Do we think that's fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, give or take. Okay, and then you retire at 65. So that's 40 years. So in your entire lifetime of working at least 40 hours a week, every single week, your entire life, you have made $1.4 million dollars. That's not profit, ladies and gentlemen. That is money that you have earned. Okay, let's
Especially since,
subtract
like, I
rent,
think,
food, and
yeah, I
all
was gonna
that
say, on
stuff.
average, don't we spend, like, 2/3 of our money on necessities?
Average American expenses. Let's find out. That sounds right, but I just want to see, like,
Yeah, because
if that's accurate.
I know that there's this thing
According
that's,
to
like, the 50/30/20 rule.
So according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, pre-tax household income in 2019, so this is based off of two adults, is 82,000. Okay, so that's a little higher than our 75. 82,000, while the average household expenditures was 63,000. So 76% of their income. So let's say that 76, that 1.4. divided by 76. So in total, you get to keep about 18 grand of that
See?
for fun, whatever
For
else, not
for things that
expenditures.
you don't need to spend in order to live.
And you need to remember that's pre-taxes, okay? So
Yeah.
then you gotta factor in taxes, and
Mhm.
obviously hoping since you've now retired at 65 based on our math, you've also put money into your retirement account, so you never actually got to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, just some perspective for all those numbers we were throwing around earlier is just I don't know, that's crazy to
Mind-blowing.
me. And I just want to point out, so this was a study I saw a couple years ago. So the number is probably outdated, based on inflation. But I had read they did a study of a ton of people. I think it was like 100,000 people or some crazy number like that. And in that study, they were trying to figure out what like the average income was to make you satisfied. And so they, based on their study, they found, and again, this is several years ago, so account for inflation. But back then, $80,000 was the key point for one individual to make a year where they were completely satisfied. If you
Mhm.
made 70K, you were not happy. And if you made anything above 80K, you were still just as happy as the person making 80K. Like even the people who are making like 150K, 300K, all that were just as happy statistically as the person making $80,000 a year. That was the golden number where you can live comfortably, in a comfortable house, you don't stress, you have a car, you can eat well, you can take trips, but you still have, a little bit of spending money. That was like the average thing that people found in that study. And that
Yeah.
just blows my mind. Can you imagine how easy it would be to raise the minimum wage for all the jobs to make it where you made like at least 70K and then like of course you've got to work to make that 80K, that extra 10 grand. But
Mhm.
can you just imagine how much the quality of life imagine how happy you were with that $36,000 and then double that. And just imagine the quality of life that you could have.
Yeah. It's but the 1%.
Yeah,
The wealthiest, they don't
exactly.
want to.
Yeah, but
I want to say I think it was probably a joke that I had seen someplace, but I'm a big proprietor of the 42069 week. Have you ever heard of that?
2060 no.
It's four twenty
Entice
sixty
them so
nine.
yeah. Okay, teach me.
So the 42069 week is you work 4 days, you know, 4 days a week, 20-hour work weeks, $69 an hour.
See how much that adds up to because I'm pretty so I can actually say I have had a job. I definitely did not work 20 hours a week. I still worked the standard 40, but I
Hmm.
did work 4 day weeks. And I can tell you, I was so much, and I still had a second job. So I really didn't technically get 3 solid days off, but just having that one extra technical day off was so much better. And mind you, again, I was still working 40 hours a week. So I was doing 4 10-hour days instead of 5 8-hour days. But having that extra day, I was so much happier at that job
Yeah. Oh yeah.
than I am at other jobs. So
Hmm.
so what did you say? $69 an
So
hour
it's yeah, $69 an hour,
at
40
$20 an
40
hour.
hours a week. It comes to about $66,000 a year.
Okay, so that's pretty close to our
Yeah,
and
four twenty
that
sixty
is
nine.
yeah. I'm loving it. That's awesome. That's funny. That's hilarious.
I
That's
think we
so
need to
funny.
implement this.
It'll never happen, not in our lifetime, but I just yeah, I don't know, I think about that kinds of stuff all the time. The highest paying since you did it, I'll say the same. The highest paying job I ever had was, $55,000 a year. Uh, and at that $55,000 a year, yes, I was very, very comfortable financially. However, I was a manager for the largest restaurant chain in America, and I was working on average 60 to 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
And being that that was salaried, I didn't get overtime. I didn't get any bonuses or anything extra for that. And while, yes, financially, I was very happy and very stable, I had such a low quality of life
Yep.
because I drove an hour each way to that restaurant and I worked my 10, 12-hour shifts with customers yelling at me, dealing with employees who called out, who didn't show up, doing all of my paperwork, leaving at 2 a.m. And it just,
Yeah. No,
it's such an
I totally
American,
feel that because the
such American.
the job that I was talking about earlier, where I made the like the 42,000 43,000 something like that. The job that I was working an overnight job at a call center. It was not easy. I was, you know, struggling mentally from not seeing the sun for months at a time. And it was like 12-hour shifts. Like I would get into work at 6 o'clock, I would work all night till 6 in the morning, and then go home and sleep, get up and go back to work. Like it's
Mhm.
like it was my highest paying job, but it was also, like you were saying, one of the most stressful jobs I ever had.
And that's the thing, right? Is that a lot of people, when you hear somebody makes a lot of money, you're like, "Oh, you make a lot of money." And it's like, "Okay, but are you thinking about what's happening on the other end of that money?" Because it's not just like, "Oh, well, you're just making money." No, you're doing something
Hmm.
to make that money. And so again, you broke down yours really nicely. My shift was a standard 2 to 2, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Sometimes I got to leave earlier than that, if it was a slow day or whatever. So again, we were salaried, so it didn't matter. But most days I was there from 2 to 2. But that's not just the hours I work. That's something that a lot of people don't realize when you think about, "Oh, I work an 8-hour day." No, you don't really work an 8-hour day. Okay, I would get up at noon, not really, but still, let's just say for easy sake,
Yeah.
I would get up at noon, spend an hour getting ready. Being a manager, I had to do my hair, I had to do my makeup, I had to wear a suit, I had to wear heels. I had to spend a lot of time looking that way, which I guess maybe to a man it wouldn't be that long, but still, whatever. And then, like I said,
Hey,
that's
you
about a four.
this takes a while.
It takes a while. Okay. Well, all right. Half an hour for you. But so we'll make it easy. We'll average out at half an hour for the people who aren't as fancy. So let's say half an hour, okay, and then 45 minutes driving. That's an hour and a half almost right there, right? Get in, get my stuff in, clock in, that kinds of stuff. So that's an hour and a half. Do my 12-hour shift, clock out, lock up, get in my car, drive another 45 minutes back home. So when you really total that in, yeah, that was a 12-hour workday that I was paid for, but I was working or devoting 15-ish hours of my life every day, at least 14 every day to that job. And usually it was 6 days a week. Not always. I don't want to make it sound like, it was
It was
that bad.
horrible. Yeah.
But yes, it was a shithole. But I hate that company. We won't name names, but I can't stand that company. And also, I just want to point out again, this is the largest restaurant company in America at that time. I don't know if they are anymore. I'm sure they still are. But and that's what they were paying me to do that. To do that job was just $55,000 a year. The largest restaurant group in the country. I don't even wanna know what I'm not gonna look it up because 'cause it'll make me angry. But you've just gotta think, that's what they were paying I was the second highest manager. The only person above me was the general manager of that store, and I was making $55,000 a year, but they're the biggest restaurant corporation in the country, and they're profiting insane amounts. It's the same thing with Amazon, and it's just that's the
Yeah.
kinds of stuff that again people don't think about, like, oh yay, you've made great money. It's like, okay, but again, I'm making great money, but I spend 15 hours a day, six
So
days
there
a
was
week
like
working.
no, yeah, there was like no life outside of work at that point.
No, well, especially same thing with you, those odd hours, no. When I get
Like
off at 2 a.m. and then I get home at 3 a.m., let's say I pass out finally around 4 or 5 a.m., I'm not getting up at 9 and living my life with other people. I'm sleeping until like, 10 or 11. I have 1 hour of free time a day plus
yeah.
1 day off. So,
Yeah. Well, I actually hate to cut this conversation short, but we're actually almost 10 minutes over our time.
oh no, oops, sorry.
No, it's not a big a deal. It was a really good conversation. I didn't want to cut it short, but that felt like a good place as any to end it. Um, so yeah, I think next week we're gonna talk a little bit more about probably the new year coming up, like things off in the distance. So um, definitely keep track of that. You can follow me, MEmoFlakes, on just about everything: Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and subscribe to MEmoTalks if you haven't already. You can listen to us on almost all of the major podcastings. We're still working on getting on Apple. We'll get there someday. Uh,
Someday.
have a good night, everybody. Well, I guess not good night. It's like this is the earliest we've ever recorded, so I just feel weird. Have a great
Good
rest of your day.
morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, guys.